I was dropping off a guitar at Loren's Emporium, and while I was there, I saw this kit kind of buried beneath all these other instruments, and I asked Loren, what's the story with this cool-looking vintage kit? He said it's a Sonor that he's holding for a friend to sell for that friend. And so I asked, like I usually do when I see a cool piece of gear that one of my friends has at their shop or in their home or at the recording studio, can we make an episode on this? And Loren said yes, and so I sent a picture of this kit to my friend Dan Bailey to say, Dan, hey, would you be interested in coming over, hearing this kit, playing it, and talking about it with us? And Dan said, I actually might be interested in buying that because I've been looking for something like that.
And that is the magic of Mothership Gear. Friends meeting friends, swapping gear.
We'll get out of the way so you could enjoy this episode with Dan Bailey and Loren James on the 1960s Sonor San Francisco kit. Enjoy the episode.
Hello and welcome to Mothership Gear. Today I'm joined by my friend Dan Bailey on drums, and we will be talking about and experiencing this one-of-a-kind Sonor kit. So what we know about this is a Sonor San Francisco model. It is a 13-inch rack tom, 16-inch floor tom with a 20-inch bass. We were just talking earlier that we enjoy kind of this setup and sizes. Dan, you were saying you enjoy using a 20-inch bass drum?
Yeah, I like a 20-inch bass drum. Kind of where it sits high enough that like bass can get down below it, like in a mix, and it doesn't compete in the same way. And I always kind of like how it sits in a kind of a song format type of thing, you know?
Yeah. You're right, because you can tune it up to get more of that like 18-inch sound, but you can still tune down to get your 22.
Yeah, it might be one of the most versatile sizes most times, you know?
Yeah, I know I shy away when I'm seeing a 13, 16, 20. I'm like, oh, that doesn't sound as traditional, but in a working context, it's almost better.
Yeah, I love 13, 16 toms. That's kind of the only thing I ever play. And the problem with like a 20, 12, 14 is every time I have a 14-inch floor tom, I wish it was a 16. It could just never go low enough.
Yeah.
So I love the 20, 13, 16. I think it has a lot of kind of versatility and kind of sounds you can get out of it.
Awesome. Yeah, and these Sonor drums we're talking made of Beech, which is a little different than what I think of from like an American drum. What do you think it sounds or feels like? Your first thoughts after playing this?
Yeah, they kind of have a like a Slingerland, kind of like a sophisticated Slingerland thing going on. They're kind of dark and kind of spongy feeling. Probably means, softer wood than like a maple or a birch that we're kind of used to. But yeah, they just have like a really round kind of bottom, not a whole bunch of top end, but they sit real nice, nice, like a nice amount of low end without being kind of overpowering.
Yeah.
I think it's a total sleeper kind of material for a drum kit.
Very good. Very good. But yeah, when I think of like Slingerland, I love Slingerland drums. Very round, easy to play, but they don't really command the high price tag of like a Gretsch or a Ludwig. These, like you were saying, are sophisticated Slingerland. I think these are a little more pricey, but I don't really see Sonors on the market too often.
Yeah, I mean, it just must be that they didn't sell near as many in the States. Like you go over to Europe and you see so many Premier and Sonor drums, but I think they're just kind of pretty limited in how much market share they held in the 60s.
Yeah,
just Ludwig, Gretsch, and Slingerland were just selling so many units, you probably, by a factor of 20 or something.
Yeah, exactly. I was trying to look up and see if there were some notable players, and the one that stuck out to me for music I listened to was Greg, I believe, is it Kochi?
Kochi, yeah.
Kochi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to pronounce names when you've never heard it out loud. But he plays for Wilco, and
yeah.
I think that makes sense. He has a very sophisticated playing style and kind of reserved in some songs. And I think the Sonor, when he does play that on stuff, really aligns with his playing.
Yeah, his live drum sound is incredible. And I think he plays one of the modern models, but also their vintage drums, which are kind of a remake of this model.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, they're actually just recently, Ashwin, his drum tech, was our drum tech for a month last year, filling in. Incredible dude. And I was asking him just Glenn questions over and over and over.
Get to pick his brain on every little detail.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's almost better talking to the tech who is thinking about the nitty gritty rather than just
the day in, day out living with him,
Yeah. How cool. What a fun experience.
Yeah. Yeah. It was awesome.
Well, cool. Let's hear a little bit of these drums and take it away. Wow. Yeah, that does sounds really good in this room too. Just our little recording studio. Nice low end from that bass drum. I think that really stands out to me, that it's carrying this like really present note, fills the room, but isn't like too overpowering. Yeah.
In a lot of ways, the construction and such has nothing to do with it, but they sound like how my brain wants a Radio King to sound, and it never does. Because those are much older drums from the 30s and 40s and kind of usually a little wonky and stuff. These have, in the same way that like a Camco sounds like a Ludwig that went to college.
Yeah.
This is like if you sent Slingerland to like finishing school. They're just a little more round and kind of, hold together better.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. It's almost it meets your expectations of kind of what you've heard on all these records. You're like, oh, this player played a Ludwig, and then you go play a Ludwig, and you're like, wait a minute, this isn't really exactly it. And then you play this Camco, and you're like, oh, okay, sounds.
There's the thing. Yeah.
That sounds like the record, and vice versa with the Slingerland to Sonor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these I think the Beech shells I was reading up are a little thicker than some of your average like 3-ply kits from the 60s with re-rings, which maybe adds to kind of the warmness. Or I think the thicker shell produces a higher note.
Yeah, and if it's a slightly softer material, it makes sense they would need to have a little more for like the structural integrity.
Yeah.
Might have to use some more plies or thicker plies maybe.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Kind of a method to the madness. It wasn't just, hey, this wood looks good, let's make a drum set out of this.
And especially for the American companies in the mid-60s, it was just, they were making drums out of whatever was cheapest.
Yeah.
They're keeping the bottom line low. So like, just even looking at these, you can see the construction quality is above what other people were offering at the time, for sure.
Yeah, and the chrome looks beautiful.
The chrome is immaculate for a kit this age, which is crazy. That's a thing that you usually see on Camco and Rogers, just because they used better quality materials.
Yeah, and I heard, going on forums and listening to people talk about drums your whole life, I remember it stuck with me that someone said Premier had the best chrome, and that would make sense that this more British European company has this great chrome. This German company, Sonor, has great chrome.
Yeah.
I wonder if just their methods over there were a little more precise.
A little more precise, probably a little less profit driven.
Yeah.
It tends to be, unfortunately.
They were making a good drum for sake of making a good drum rather than a 50% margin or something.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, cool. This is great. Sounded great. What kind of snare are you playing with this kit? What did you pair with it?
This is my 60s Blameyer that I got a while back. So it's like a resin fiberglass kind of type of snare drum.
Oh, rad.
Cool. Has a kind of very limited overtones, very dry, but like famously, like Hal Blaine was a big believer in this snare drum shell. So like totally a you hear it, then it's all of a sudden kind of the Phil Spector sound kind of makes sense. You're like,
Mhm,
oh yeah, it's very snare wire forward, pretty dry overall, but yeah, just a really cool sounding drum.
Awesome. And what sets that apart from like a fiberglass shell, like let's say Pearl or Fibes or something was doing. These were spun, right?
Mm-hmm. As I understand it, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I know Jenkins, I forget the first name. They kind of took up that.
Jenkins and Martin is a company making them, like remaking them using that process now for sure. And those drums rip too. They're awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. That it's a nice revival from a vintage drum for a modern thing. That's like the new Slingerland snares. All that I've heard is good stuff on those too.
Yeah, I can't wait to get like some in-person time with those, because I'm sure Jose up at Revival, I mean, I'm wearing their shirt, certainly knows he's been in the room with thousands of those drums, so he certainly knows what makes a real one.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait to play one of those.
How cool. Awesome. Well, Dan, thanks for joining us and playing. Maybe we can get another little snippet of some playing to do a little outro with.
Sure.
If people want to hear more drums or pick your brain about your drum knowledge, where can they find you online?
Just Instagram at @DRichardBailey is usually the best spot.
Awesome. Well, take it away. Let's get another beat.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Mothership Gear.
Also, we got to thank our guests, Loren James of Loren's Emporium and Dan Bailey, drummer, recording engineer, tours with Father John Misty. They just put out a record not too long ago that he plays on that you can hear. And we would like you to go ahead and subscribe to Ildefonso Inc. if you want more Mothership Gear content. We've done some great episodes with Dan Bailey at his recording studio, including one where we talk about ribbon microphones and another where we just get a tour of all of the cool gear that he has in his space and how he utilizes his workflow. With Loren, we have a ton of episodes as well. Lots of bass guitars, amps. We have another drum episode coming up soon with Loren and another drummer. So if you like the sound of all that, then subscribe here to Ildefonso Inc. and we will see you guys next time. Later. Bye.